So guys, I want to go a quick video here. I wanted to, what is this video called? It is some preacher, some apologetic dude, thinking he's got an atheist on the ropes, who's asking questions. He's on stage trying to brainwash a bunch of people, and I thought we'd go over part of it because the kid asking the questions obviously hasn't debated that much, so he lets a few things slip. I'm not the best at covering all materials like this, but I will do my best. So let's just go over it quick, shall we? Okay. Wait, first I need to make sure I set my settings here so I can turn my mic off, mute, alt, and control. Okay.
So this is called the God of the Gaps argument. I didn't make this up. But it essentially says that the universe is, like you said, awesome. There's so much we don't understand. It's beyond our comprehension. But science has made some of the incredible things that happen in our universe possible, like modern medicine, for example. If you went back to, say, when Christ was born and you said, hey, in 2,000 years we can bring people.
Notice he says when Christ was born, so he just like gives that to him. I would not have done that. I would have said, like back when Christ was supposedly born, hey baby. So.
Back from the dead, because people can die for a short amount of time and we can still bring them back. Or if I took my phone back, you know, some of these things could be considered godly acts, but we can do them now, and they're not godly acts. We just put a scalpel here and inject some morphine there, and there you go. You're brought back from the dead. Obviously, it's not that simple. So why doesn't that trend continue into things that you were calling godly acts?
Well, you're saying that if we continue to research, we're going to find scientific answers for everything, basically.
I don't quite think that's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that we will continue to figure things out. Not for everything, perhaps everything. It's in that things that he's trying to say, that things that, sorry, sometimes stuff in my head, I'm trying to get it out. He's trying to say sometimes things we don't know, that we science will, because science is about continuously knowing and figuring out. We get more evidence all the time, which brings us to more conclusions based on the new evidence. So that's what he's saying is doing. But he's accusing this preacher of doing God of the Gap, since we don't know, therefore God, which is what this preacher is attempting to BS everybody with, is, well, we don't know, so therefore God, as you'll see. It's only a 6-minute clip here. It's not the whole lecture, of course, but basically that's what's going on.
The universe, let's just say the universe, for example. You're saying it's going to happen by natural law, right?
Not necessarily by natural law, but we will inevitably figure out more things as time goes on that are not necessarily God.
Okay, but if all of nature had a beginning, which is what the evidence seems to show.
All right, that's... What these theists try to do is use science to go off of that and inject their God. So he's trying to think that he's not using God of the Gaps, but yeah, he is. No, I'm not using God of the Gaps. I'm just injecting God where I think it should be, which is like the same thing. So there's a lot of things we don't know, right? What don't we know a lot about? Quantum mechanics. I'm seeing articles around saying we think we can get something from nothing. Of course, we don't know what nothing is yet, but it's an interesting article, and I think there's a lot to quantum mechanics we have yet to discover. So it just amazes me that there's people on stage here trying to tell us for sure that there is a God when we're so much we don't know yet. And they can't even tell us what a God is, but that's another question. Let's just continue on.
You can't have a natural cause for that because nature didn't exist.
That makes no sense at all. And then the kid does really chime in on quite a few things. One of them, this being, we don't know that the nature started at a certain point there. We don't know. The universe could have been in different forms, right? Universe could have been in different forms. We just don't know what those forms are. It could have always existed, just in different forms. We don't know, right? Could have all been just either what we call natural or however quantum mechanics works. We don't know, right? But it's like this guy on stage here who wants to tell us he does know when he's not telling us jack. Well, we don't know, therefore God. Like, that doesn't work. But see, these are like there's, I can see an older gentleman down there, but like he's probably a believer. But then there's just kids here who but he's just trying to blow smoke up people's asses. Whatever, we'll continue.
So it must be something that transcends nature that brought it into existence.
The fuck transcends nature? What does that even? What do we know that transcends nature, buddy?
Correct?
We don't know that.
Why don't we know that? If space, matter, and time had a beginning, can it be a natural cause?
If space, time, matter had a beginning, if the question is if, we don't know. We don't know. So he's trying to build his case off of an if, right? We need to stop right when he says if. That's where we stop. We can't answer questions to the if because we're on an if, right? He's trying to build his case as an if as a foundation. It doesn't work that way. You got to start it with something, a little more concrete than an if, right? But not this preacher. Nope.
Sure. I mean,
How?
Who knows there's nature beyond what we experience, right?
But that would be what we would call supernature. It's beyond our natural world.
All right. Beyond our natural world? No, it's just stuff that we don't know about yet. I don't even know what that means, supernature, beyond our natural world. It doesn't have to be beyond anything. We don't have the information yet. It doesn't have to be beyond anything, just something we don't know yet. We can't say it's beyond anything. It's just not in our knowledge yet.
That's what the evidence seems to show. So
the evidence seems to show. What evidence, buddy?
So if God did create the universe, what evidence would suggest that he did?
That's a great question. We don't even know what God is, but go ahead.
Seems to me precisely what we have. That space, time, and matter came into existence out of nothing.
Again, we don't know what the word nothing means. We have no idea. No idea what nothing is. So we can't use that.
So if that's the case, and that's what it appears to be.
If that's the case, another if. No, that's not what it appears to be. That's an if statement. We don't know enough about the world to make these kind of statements and say, therefore, we have so much information that we can now say it's a God. No, there's so much crap we don't know.
Then you have a being outside the universe with the attributes we mentioned earlier.
Why would it be a being? Why can't it be another form of the universe? Why can't it be something quantum mechanics we know nothing about that made matter happen in this universe? Why does it have to be a being?
Spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, personal, and intelligent.
Basically, it doesn't exist. Because if it's spaceless and timeless, it's not there. It doesn't exist. So he just defined something that doesn't exist. Basically what he just did.
Who created this universe. That's what the evidence appears to show.
Again, that's what the evidence appears to show. No, that's what stuff coming out of your butt appears to show.
So anything beyond the beginning of the universe and everything here is considered God?
No, but the attributes apply to what could be God. There are other arguments which we haven't gotten into because we don't have time, but you can't go on an infinite regress of natural causes anyway.
Okay, well, why can't we ask you what made God? Why is that? He tries to answer it later because I actually did see this video already because it just upset me. All the comments under there just upset me, dude.
Let's suppose, for the sake of argument, there's natural causes beyond this, what some atheists call this local representation, right? And there's time prior to that. You can't still go on an infinite regress. Ultimately, you got to get back to a timeless, uncaused first cause. And this is even what Alexander Vilenkin pointed out, who believes in the multiverse. You probably heard of the multiverse, Jack.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Even he says, look, even if there is a multiverse, it still all needs an absolute beginning. You don't get rid of the need for an absolute beginning.
I hate the way you use the word absolute. What does that even mean? And even if we could hypothesize, which is what it is, a hypothetical, if we could hypothesize that there was a beginning, we don't know anything about what that would be. But this guy, people like him want to say it's a God. We have no idea what he's talking about. He can't even define the word. He uses the timeless, spaceless, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't tell us jack shit about what a God is. And don't let anyone try to obfuscate the conversation by using those pretty little words, right? Because what do we have to know? We know what is a God? What is it made of? Where does it live? And what does it do all day? What reason do we have to know these things that this is what a God is? Where did that information come from? Right? They can't tell us these things. Then that's the problem.
Even if there are other natural events before our universe came into existence. Another argument might be the composition argument. Everything that we know about is composed. It's made of parts. And anything that's composed is put together by some sort of composer. But you can't...
Oh my God, that's so horrible. Okay, just because things are made up of things doesn't mean that some mind had to make them up. This is just disgusting, dude.
Go on an infinite regress of composers. Ultimately, you got to get back to an uncomposed composer who isn't made of parts, who composes everything else.
Right, and where did that thing come from? How did it come to be? Give me a break, dude. The problem here is you can't have something that's intelligent that always existed that doesn't have time or space. We don't know of any such thing. So why would we even give it any serious consideration? Stuff had to pop into the universe in ways we don't know about. And we're just scratching the surface of quantum mechanics, right? Like literally just scratching, like it dumbfounds us, right? Like there's so much we don't know. But people like him ignore that. They don't want to ignore that there's so much now that, right? Because quantum mechanics wasn't a thing back in the day when there were all these, arguments like the crap that he gives, right? They weren't around back then. But now we're starting to see, hey, wow, there's a whole new scientific field we don't know jack about. But they don't want to confront that, right? Because if they confront that, then it's like, whoa, I don't know. Wait, I can't say I don't know. I have to say I know because I think there's a God, blah, blah, blah.
That would be another argument. Some of the arguments that I can't bring up here because I don't have time, I think are even better than the ones that I presented to you. But due to the fact that you have to have some base philosophical knowledge that most of us don't have, it's not something you can bring forth to a general audience. You have to go through a lot of philosophical training.
You have to go through a lot of BS to obfuscate you. If you actually had reason to believe in a God and you actually knew what a God was, it wouldn't take a freaking master's degree, buddy. It really would not.
To really get the lingo down and the language down and the concepts down before people can understand them. I know I did before I could understand them. So it's not something you can present in a 2-hour seminar. But there is a really good book written by Ed Feser. I don't know if you heard that name, Jack.
No.
Feser, teaches at Pasadena City College. He is a Catholic philosopher, used to be an atheist, became a theist. His 5
These theists, what do they love to do? What? This person used to be an atheist, and now he's a theist. Hello, everyone is born an atheist. Everyone on the freaking planet. So to tell us that someone was an atheist and now a theist is not telling us something that's so super special. Like, of course, all theists out there, even him, used to be an atheist. So I hate that about it. They say that as if that should like have an impact. It doesn't.
Proofs of the existence of God goes through these metaphysical arguments where you don't even need any scientific import. One other thing I might suggest too is that it appears to me that science itself requires someone like God for order. Otherwise, these natural laws that we have, why do they exist? Why are they so persistent and consistent?
Yeah. So you're asking the question, and since we don't have the answers, therefore God. That's called God of the gaps, right there.
So even if someone were to tell me, look, we figured out that life could arise from non-life without intelligence through natural laws, I'm still going to ask the question, where did the natural laws come from?
Yeah, well, another God of the gaps. Had to come from somewhere, we don't know. But they're going to keep pushing it for the first gods needed for life. I mean, I've run into theists out there that says, I've had a theist out there tell me that we will never create artificial intelligence. We will never do it because he thinks that everyone has a soul from God or something like that. But we're getting close to that, and we're getting close to figuring out how life came from non-life. But people like him are just going to push it further back, and the God thing gets pushed further and further back, and that's the way their arguments go.
And where do laws come from? They come from lawgivers. So ultimately, you can go back, and you're ultimately going to find an uncaused first cause with a mind, it seems. Does that make sense?
No, it does not make sense. It looks like you're just blowing smoke up everyone's ass. It's not making sense. See, you try to say something that makes sense so people will actually believe it, but you have nothing to show that it... And look at this dumbass up here looking up at him like, yeah, don't you? He showed you, yeah. It's like the people in the comment section down there about, oh, he did such a good job answering this question. It's like, no, he doesn't. He sucks. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
What if I asked you who created God? I'm sure you've heard that one 1,000 times.
Sure. Well, I think the answer is no one, because he's the uncreated creator.
I met an uncreated creator the other day. Didn't you? I mean, I meet them all the time, right? Like, when was the last time you met an uncreated creator? Every day, I go down to the ice cream shop, get ice cream. I bump into an uncreated creator. All the time. You know, I know exactly who they are because I talk to them all the time.
Look, you got to get back to an uncreated creator somewhere, and if space, time, and matter had a beginning, then whatever...
Oh, look, another if statement. If. Let's build our case off of an if.
Whatever created time didn't have a beginning, right? Because he's not in time. So if he didn't create time, he's time.
Right. What do we know of that's not in time? What beings do we know of that's not in time? Oh, none. So you're just pulling stuff out of your butt, aren't you?
Timeless, which means he didn't have a cause. So he is the uncaused first cause. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense. You're full of crap. You have no idea what you're talking about. Another stupid theist. And look out down here in these comments. Oh, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Amen. Always love your videos, Frank. God bless you. And whoever reads this. And this guy, hopefully the timepiece information will lead the student to what he's specifically looking for. Yeah, he's looking to stump the guy who he knows has no idea what he's talking about. Had I been over there, this guy would not be able to get away with half the stuff coming out of his mouth. He would have been like, oh, let's go to the next person now. You're taking too much of my time. You're making me look bad. That's what would happen if I was there. Please. Gosh. This was awesome. Yet another Turek slam dunk. What did he slam dunk? Everything was based on an if statement. If Tinkerbell exists, then now we know how everything came to be. If she used her pixie dust, her magic pixie, what? So I went reading through these freaking comments, and they just disgusted me. I'll put the URL into my thing here. I don't know. Yeah, well, I could go on to read all these stupid things, but I wanted to end today's video on a Bible verse. I saw some dude went around. Oh yeah, here we go. I found it. This really pissed me off. So I memorized a Bible verse just because I saw this video. It upset me greatly. Here we go.
I'll give you $20 if you can tell me one Bible verse.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly.
Amen. $20. God bless you. And here's something to read about Jesus Christ. And if you had one message to the world, what would you say?
There is still hope because God is still good to us.
Amen. God bless you.
Give me a freaking break. Give me a... Sorry, is my shit on there? I'm sorry.
We met in the store. What Bible verse would you tell me? Make sure you share in the comments.
I'll give you $20.
I'll tell you what Bible verse I'll tell you, buddy. Here we go. I memorized the new... I'll tell you without looking. I memorized it. Hold on. But they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property. Exodus 21:21. The Bible condones slavery. I got it right here. Right? This is the verse. This is the verse I would have given him. And the Bible goes on to talk about how to treat your slaves, how you can even trick a slave to being your slave for the rest of his life, and to get even more slaves out of it. How to trick them, how to beat them, because it shows that they're your property. So I just wanted you guys, if you want to memorize a Bible verse, I would do Exodus 21:21, and you can read more around it as well about other things that they say to do to the slaves. So this is something they have a really hard time with. So I extremely encourage people to memorize at least this kind of verse. It's very good. So, yeah. Anyways, I'll put the URL in there, and it's just a little quick video I want to do because this kind of stuff pisses me off. And then the believers don't really care about thinking and using logic. They just want to support the guy who believes in the same imaginary friend they have, right? I mean, why is mankind going through this? Disgusting. All right, guys. Peace. Was it logic? Logic?